The Veridian Council chambers buzzed with nervous energy as Ambassador Kex adjusted his ceremonial robes. 3 years. 3 bloody years of negotiations with these humans. And now, finally, the moment of truth. Ambassador, his aide whispered urgently, the human delegation has arrived. Kex's mandibles clicked in what passed for a smile among his species. Excellent. Let's see what these primitive mammals have to offer. The massive door slid open with a hiss, revealing 5 figures in simple black uniforms. No ceremonial armor, no weapons display, no intimidating escorts. Just 5 humans walking like they own the place. That's it, Kex muttered. Where's their pomp? Their circumstance? The lead human, a woman with steel gray hair and eyes like winter storms, stepped forward. Ambassador Kex, I'm Admiral Sarah Chen, representing the Terran Federation. Kex's translator crackled. Admiral? How quaint. We were expecting diplomats, not military personnel. Chen's smile could have frozen plasma. Oh, we're way past diplomacy, Ambassador. We're here to discuss terms. Terms? Kex's voice rose an octave. You're in no position to dictate terms. Your pathetic little colony ships are scattered across 12 systems. We control 300. Funny thing about numbers, Chen said, settling into her chair without invitation. They don't always tell the whole story. The Veridian security chief, Commander Vex, stepped forward. His scales rippled with barely contained aggression. Human, you will show proper respect, or what? The voice came from behind Chun. A young human male, barely out of his teens by their standards, looked up from the datapad he'd been reading. You'll do what exactly, lizard boy? The chamber erupted in hisses and clicks. Kex slammed his fist on the table. How dare you? Oh, I dare plenty, the young man said, not looking up. Jake Martinez, by the way, tactical analysis. And right now, I'm analyzing how spectacularly you screwed up. Chen held up a hand. Jake's right, but let me explain it more diplomatically. Her grin was predatory. 3 months ago, your forces attacked our colony on Kepler 442b. Small place. Barely 10,000 settlers. Families, mostly. Kids, grandparents, people just try and build something beautiful. A necessary action, Kex said stiffly. The colony was established in violation of treaty. Treaty? Chun laughed, but there was no humor in it. The treaty you unilaterally modified after we'd already signed it? The one where you decided our survey teams couldn't establish preliminary settlements? That treaty? Legal technicalities, Vex growled. The point remains. You were trespassing. Trespassing. Chin repeated the word like it tasted bad. On a world we've been terraforming for 8 years, where the Morrison family was celebrating their daughter's 5th birthday when your ships opened fire. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. The other humans remained perfectly still, but something in their posture had changed, like predators recognizing prey. Collateral damage, Kex said dismissively. War is unfortunate, but war. Jake looked up from his pad, eyebrows raised. Oh, this isn't war yet. This is just us being polite. Polite? Vex's laugh was a harsh bark. You call this polite? Extremely polite, said another human, a woman with graying temples and surgical scars on her hands. Dr. Elena Vasquez, Xenobiology. And yes, we're being incredibly polite right now. How so? Kex demanded. Because we're talking instead of doing. Chin said simply, You see, Ambassador, you made a critical error in your calculations. You assumed we'd respond like any other species you bullied into submission. Negotiate, compromise, maybe launch a few retaliatory strikes to save face. And you won't. Kex's confidence was wavering. Oh, we'll negotiate, Chin said. But first, let me share something about human psychology. We don't form governments or alliances or trade partnerships. We form families. And the 10,000 people on Kepler 442b, they weren't just citizens. They were family. Jake tapped his datapad. Specifically, they were a family of about 47 million active-duty military personnel, 16 billion civilians with military training, and roughly 32 billion very, Very angry humans who just learned that someone killed their kids. Impossible, Vex snarled. No species mobilizes entire population for war. We don't call it mobilization, Dr. Vasquez said mildly. We call it Tuesday. Chen leaned forward. Let me paint you a picture, Ambassador. Right now, as we speak, there are approximately 12,000 human vessels converging on your space. Not military ships. Mind you, civilian vessels. Cargo haulers, pleasure craft, research ships, even a few luxury liners. All crewed by volunteers who took vacation time to come kill you. Volunteers. Kex's voice cracked. Marcus Chen was 8 years old. Jake said, reading from his pad. He liked dinosaurs and wanted to be a paleontologist. His grandmother, Captain Sarah Chen here, was planning to visit him next month for his birthday. The Admiral's face remained impassive, but her knuckles were white. Marcus won't be having a birthday party. Sarah Morrison was turning 5. Dr. Vasquez continued. She was afraid of the dark, but loved stargazing. Her uncle, Lieutenant Commander James Morrison, was serving on the TNS Defiance when he got the news. The Defiance? Vex's scales went pale. That's that a dreadnought. Was, Chen corrected. Jimmy requested immediate transfer to active hunting duty. The Defiance is now the flagship of Retribution Fleet 7, one of 12 fleets currently inbound to your territory. This is madness, Kex whispered. No species commits this level of resources to revenge. Revenge? Chen's laugh was genuinely amused now. Oh, Ambassador, you still don't understand. This isn't revenge. This is family protection. You attacked our children. Everything that happens next is just us making sure you can never do it again. Jake looked up from his pad. Quick question. How many of your world have children on them? What kind of question is that? Vex demanded. A tactical one, Dr. Vasquez said. You see, we've been studying your species for quite some time. Fascinating reproductive cycle. You only breed every 7 years, and only on specific worlds with the right atmospheric conditions. Kex's mandibles clicked nervously. How do you know about our breeding worlds? We know lots of things, Chen said. For instance, we know that your next breeding cycle starts in 14 months. We know that you got approximately 2.3 million eggs currently incubating on 17 different worlds. We know that those eggs are absolutely vital to your species' survival. You wouldn't dare, Vex breathed. We wouldn't have to, Jake said cheerfully. See, there's this thing called an electromagnetic pulse. Completely harmless to adults, but plays havoc with developing nervous systems. One small EMP burst over each breeding world, and whoops, no more next generation. That would be genocide, Kex said, his voice hollow. No, Chen said, that would be justice. But we're not monsters, Ambassador. We're not going to slaughter your children. We're going to do something much worse. What? Kex could barely whisper. We're going to adopt them. The silence in the chamber was deafening. I'm sorry, Vex said finally. What? Every single egg on every single breeding world. Dr. Vasquez said, we're going to take them all. Raise them as humans. Teach them human values, human ethics, human ways of thinking. In 1 generation, your entire species will be culturally human. That's impossible, Kex protested. Different biology, different psychology, different nothing. Chen cut him off. We've raised Centauri cubs, Andromedan hatchlings. Even a few Christek spawn. Kids adapt. They learn. They become part of the family. Jake grinned. Plus, we got really good daycare programs. You're talking about cultural extinction, Kex said, horror creeping into his voice. We're talking about adoption, Chen corrected. Your children will be loved, protected, educated. They'll grow up to be productive members of society. They just won't be the kind of society that murders kids at birthday parties. This is insane, Vex growled. You can't just steal an entire generation. Watch us, Chen said. Operation Babysitter launches in 6 hours. 17 worlds, 17 extraction teams, 2.3 million new additions to the human family. They'll grow up calling us mom and dad, and they'll never know their birth parents thought killing children was acceptable. Unless, Jake added, still reading his pad, you prefer option B. What's option B? Kex asked, though he clearly didn't want to know. Total warfare, Chen said simply. We turn every single one of your worlds into glass. Complete extermination of your species. Not because we're evil, but because we can't risk you ever threatening children again. The chamber fell silent, except for the hum of life support systems. You're bluffing, Vex said, but his voice lacked conviction. Am I? Chun touched her comm device. Admiral Chun to Fleet Command. Status report. A crisp voice responded immediately. All fleets report ready status. Retribution Fleet 7 is in position around Veridian Prime. Shall we proceed with bombardment? Negative. Stand by for further orders. Chen looked at Kex. Your choice, Ambassador. Your children raised as humans, or your species extinct by dinner time. What's it going to be? Kex's mandibles clicked rapidly. This is impossible. No species commits to this level of total war over a single colony. A single colony? Dr. Vasquez's voice was deadly quiet. Ambassador, I want you to understand something very clearly. Those weren't just colonists. They were family. Every single one of them had mothers and fathers, and siblings and friends who loved them, who are now grieving, who are now angry. And when humans get angry about family, Jake added, we don't just get even, we get thorough. Chen stood up. We're going to step outside and give you 10 minutes to discuss this among yourselves. When we come back, we need an answer. Option A, your children become our children, raised with love and proper values. Option B, your species becomes a cautionary tale. The humans filed out, leaving the Veridians alone with their horror. This is unprecedented, Kex whispered. No species has ever. The sheer scale of what they're proposing. It's not a proposal, Vex said grimly. It's an ultimatum, and they have the firepower to back it up. But their own casualties would be enormous, Kex protested. The cost, the resources, Did you see their faces? Vex interrupted. They don't care about cost. They don't care about casualties. They've already decided we're a threat to their family. Everything else is just details. Outside the chamber, Admiral Chen stood looking out at the stars, her expression unreadable. Think they'll take option A? Jake asked. They'll take it, Chen said quietly, because the alternative is extinction, and they know we're not bluffing. And if they don't? Chen's smile was cold as space. Then we make sure no one ever threatens human children again. Ever. The 10 minutes were almost up. Hashtag what happens when human decides your family. HFY stories, SCI stories. The humans walked back into the chamber exactly 10 minutes later. Admiral Chen's face was impassive, but her eyes held the cold calculation of a predator. Well, she asked simply. Ambassador Kex looked like he'd aged a decade in 10 minutes. His scales had lost their vibrant color, and his mandibles clicked nervously. We need guarantees. Assurances that our children will be treated properly. Treated properly? Dr. Vasquez laughed, but it wasn't a pleasant sound. They'll be treated better than you ever treated them. They'll have bedtime stories, birthday parties, and people who actually care if they live or die. You have no right to judge our parenting methods, Commander Vex snarled. We have every right, Jake said, looking up from his datapad. You know why? Because we're about to become their parents. And unlike you, we don't solve problems by blowing up birthday parties. The terms are non-negotiable, Chen said flatly. Option A, we take your children and raise them as humans. Option B, we eliminate your species entirely. Choose. Kex's shoulders sagged. Option A. Smart choice, Chen said. Now here's how this works. Operation Babysitter begins immediately. Our teams will extract every egg from every breeding world. Your children will be raised in human households, attend human schools, learn human values. And what happens to us? Vex asked. Chen's smile was razor sharp. You get to live. Congratulations. You're now a protectorate of the Terran Federation. Think of us as your new big brothers. Very protective big brothers. Protectorate? Kex's voice cracked. Supervised civilization, Jake explained cheerfully. We'll be watching everything you do. Any sign of aggressive behavior, any hint of violence against innocents, and we'll step in. This is humiliation, Vex growled. This is mercy, Dr. Vasquez corrected. And frankly, it's more than you deserve. Chen activated her comm device. Admiral Chen to Fleet Command. Begin Operation Babysitter. All teams are cleared for extraction. Acknowledge, Admiral. Teams are moving in now. The chamber fell silent, except for the soft hum of electronics. Then Keck spoke, his voice barely audible. What guarantee do we have that you'll keep your word? That our children will be safe? Chen's expression softened slightly. Ambassador, let me tell you something about humans. We don't just protect our own children. We protect all children. Your eggs will be incubated in the best facilities we have. Your hatchlings will be raised by families who desperately want them. They'll be loved, educated, and given every opportunity to succeed. But they won't be Veridian, Keck said sadly. No, Chen agreed. They'll be something better. They'll be human. Jake's comm device chimed. Admiral, we're getting reports from the extraction teams. First batch of eggs is secure. No resistance from local populations. Good. Any other fleets? Retribution Fleet 7 is maintaining position around Veridian Prime. All other fleets are standing by. Chen nodded. Excellent. Now, Ambassador, let's discuss the details of your new status as a protectorate. What details? Vex asked suspiciously. Well, for starters, you're going to disarm, Chen said. Complete military disarmament. No weapons of mass destruction. No planetary bombardment capability. No ship-to-ship combat systems. Impossible, Kex protested. We have enemies, other species who would attack us if we were defenseless. Not anymore, Jake said. See, here's the thing about being part of the human family. We protect our own. Anyone who attacks you now attacks us. And we've already demonstrated what happens to people who attack us. You're serious, Vex said, staring at them. Dead serious, Chen confirmed. The Terran Federation now extends a protection to all Veridian worlds. In exchange, you follow our rules. No more wars of aggression. No more civilian casualties. No more deciding that genocide is an acceptable solution to territorial disputes. And if we refuse, then you become a very short-lived cautionary tale, Dr. Vasquez said. Your choice. Kex looked around the chamber at his fellow counselors. Their faces showed the same mix of defeat and resignation that he felt. What about our culture? He asked. Our traditions? Keep them, Chen said, as long as they don't involve hurting people. Your art, your music, your literature, your festivals, all of that stays. But the casual violence? The treating other species as expendable? That ends today. And our children will never know any of this? Oh, they'll know, Jake said. We believe in honesty. They'll learn about their biological heritage, about Veridian history, about what led to this moment. But they'll learn it from a human perspective. Which means they'll learn that killing children is wrong, Dr. Vasquez added. Revolutionary concept, I know. Chen's comm device chimed again. Admiral, Operation Babysitter is proceeding ahead of schedule. All 17 breeding worlds are secure. Total egg count is 2.347 million. Any complications? None, Admiral. Local populations are offering no resistance. In fact, several are asking if they can volunteer to help with the extraction. Interesting. Thank you for the update. Chen looked at Kex. Your own people are helping us take your children. What does that tell you? That we've failed as a species, Kex whispered. No, Chen said, her voice gentler now. That you recognize failure and chosen to do better. That's actually very human of you. So what happens now? Vex asked. Now we integrate. Jake said, human administrative teams will work with your governments to establish new protocols. Human teachers will work with your educators to develop new curricula. Human medical teams will work with your doctors to improve your healthcare systems. You're taking over our entire civilization, Keck said. We're upgrading it, Chen corrected. Think of it as Civilization 2.0. all the benefits of your current system, but with added features like not murdering children. And this is permanent? Until your species proves it can be trusted with autonomy again, Dr. Vasquez said. Could be decades, could be centuries. Depends on how well you learn. What about our children? When they grow up, will they hate us? Chen considered the question seriously. Some might, but most will probably just be disappointed. Children are remarkably forgiving, especially when they're raised with love and proper values. And they'll be raised to be human. They'll be raised to be good people, Chen said. If that's what you call human, then yes. Jake looked up from his datapad. Admiral, we're getting reports from the adoption centers. Preliminary matching is complete. First batch of eggs will be delivered to families within the hour. Excellent. How's the demand? Overwhelming. We had to set up a lottery system. Apparently, news of what happened on Kepler 442b is spread, and everyone wants to help raise the kids. That's very human, Dr. Vasquez said with a slight smile. Tragedy happens, so we adopt everything in sight. It's not funny, Vex growled. It's not meant to be, Chen said. It's just how we work. Someone hurts our family, we expand our family. Someone threatens our children, we adopt their children. It's the most human response possible. And 20 years from now, when they're adults, 20 years from now, they'll be doctors and teachers and artists and engineers. Jake said, they'll be contributing members of society who understand that violence is a last resort, not a first option. And they'll still be biologically Veridian, Dr. Vasquez added. They'll just think like humans. Cultural extinction, Keck said sadly. Cultural evolution, Chen corrected. Your species gets to continue, but without the parts that made you a threat to innocent people. And us? What about us? You get to watch, Chen said. You get to see what your children become when they're raised with love instead of aggression. You get to see what your species could have been. That's cruel. That's justice. Dr. Vasquez said firmly, you chose to attack children. Now you get to watch those children grow up to be better than you ever were. Chen's comm device chimed again. Admiral, first successful hatching reported. Healthy Veridian infant, now in the care of the Patterson family in New Melbourne. Excellent. Send them our congratulations. Already done. They're asking if they can adopt more. Put them on the waiting list, Chen said with a slight smile. We're going to need all the volunteers we can get. So this is it? Kex asked, this is our future? This is your second chance, Chen said. Most species don't get one. You should be grateful. Grateful? Grateful that we decided you were worth saving. Jake said, grateful that we chose adoption over extermination. Grateful that your children will grow up to be better than you. And grateful that the next time someone threatens human children, they'll have to deal with 47 million angry humans and 2.3 million very protective Veridians. Dr. Vasquez added, your children will defend us? Vex asked, startled. They'll defend their family, Chen said, which now includes both humans and Veridians. That's what family means. You protect each other, even from their own species. Especially from their own species, Jake said. If you ever backslide, if you ever decide that violence is the answer again, you'll have to deal with your own children. And they'll have been raised by humans. They'll know exactly how to stop you. This is madness, Vex said, but his voice lacked conviction. This is family, Chen said simply. Welcome to the human way of doing things. As the humans prepared to leave, Kex called out one last question. Admiral, what would you have done if we had chosen option B? Chen turned back, her expression unreadable. Ambassador, you really don't want to know. I do. Chen's smile was cold as the void between stars. We would have made your species extinct in exactly 47 minutes. Every world, every ship, every last trace of your civilization would have been reduced to cosmic dust. And then we would have built monuments to our dead and made sure the entire galaxy knew what happens when you threaten human children. 47 minutes? Kex whispered. The exact amount of time Marcus Chen lived after your ships opened fire, Chen said. We believe in proportional response. As the humans left, Kex slumped in his chair, Finally understanding the magnitude of what his species had escaped. Outside the chamber, Admiral Chen looked out at the stars where human ships maintained their vigil. Think they'll learn? Jake asked. They'll learn, Chen said. And if they don't, their children will teach them. And if the children can't? Chen's smile was warm now, thinking of the 2.3 million new additions to the human family. Then we'll have 2.3 million new reasons to make sure nobody ever threatens children again. The stars look a little brighter, knowing that somewhere in the galaxy, former enemies were becoming family. That, after all, was a human way.